What is up, everybody?
What's
It is
up?
not broken. We are live. It is Wednesday, not a Thursday, but we decided to join you live today to just give you kind of a heads up of what's next and what's going on. So what's going on, Chris? How
Yes.
are you?
I think the most exciting thing about this right now for me is it's totally impromptu. Like I didn't share it. We didn't invite anybody to it. So we'll see if anybody actually attends live. But
And we'll see if they catch on or if they just catch
yeah,
it later. But either way,
yeah. But you know what? A lot's going on, man. A lot's going on. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Ever changing events always going on, but hey, that's life, right? You gotta roll with the punches.
Indeed.
Things are gonna come our way, and so here we are. So
Here
do you want to
here we are.
take it away, and I'll kind of run from there.
Yeah, yeah, sounds great. Life definitely throws some curveballs, which is not a bad thing. It tends to stress us out, maybe create some anxiety, some fear in a moment, and that's okay. Those are those are okay things to feel, and but it's not bad. It just means something new is coming. It means what's next is coming, and so
Yes.
I've been making some changes kind of in my situation, my work situation, and so I start my new job next week, which I will be excited to announce on Monday
Woo!
when I get there. It'll be good. Uh, there's lots of new things. I think I mentioned it a couple episodes ago. Like my wife and I started an e-commerce store. That was new for us. That is new for us. It's rocking and rolling, and I'm going to put some stuff out about that either today or tomorrow on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well, copperandsagestyles.com. If you want to check us out, there's some great apparel
Copper and
there that you
Sage,
can,
everybody, check it out.
yep, go check it out. It's fun. It's something that my wife had always wanted to do, and I kind of had always wanted to do it as well. But the more that we talked about it, the more that we realized, I think this is just something that we need to just do. Like we need to just pull the trigger and take a stab at it. And so that's what we're doing. So check that out. Appreciate it. Actually, today only we have a 15% off your entire order, minimum purchase of $40. So you can go get 15%
Hey,
off today if you want to go grab some stuff. But we announced, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? We announced 2 weeks ago that the next episode would actually be tomorrow, and that we would be
yes.
rebranding. But as we talked about what a rebrand would look like, I think we found out that this is a much bigger idea than we originally thought. There's a lot more to it, and a lot more that we want to dive into than we originally thought. And so this will be, uh, I guess tomorrow will technically be the last episode, if you want to call that an episode. But you're going to have a great interview
Correct.
tomorrow with a guy named
Oh
John
man, I'm
Hewitt,
so excited.
and it's going to be
Yes, the Hewitt in
fantastic.
Jackson Hewitt.
The
Crazy.
Hewitt and Jackson Hewitt, the founder of Liberty Tax, is joining DJ tomorrow. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it, but why don't you preview that conversation a little bit? Because this is going to be not only a great way to kind of wrap up this first embodiment of what it is that we want to do and kind of talking through the journey, but I think it's going to vault us into the new show that's coming very soon. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, yes, sir, man. Hey, well, so obviously super pumped and excited for your new ventures and for you just taking life as it comes, man. That's the way you got to do it. So with grace and do what you got to do.
Oh yeah, thanks, man.
But as far as their guest next week, dude, or tomorrow, is insane. So John Hewitt just kind of linked up with him and met with him actually here on LinkedIn. So if you are catching us on LinkedIn, this is the place to network. But LinkedIn has really been a life changer, and I love just going back before I even get into John. You mentioned about you and your wife just doing the e-commerce thing, and I think that's the thing that we really need to start doing is if you feel like you're stuck, you feel like there's something else, you feel like you're just not happy going to work on Monday, like John Hewitt will talk about. You're not going to the right place, and so you just got to do it. One of the greatest Mel Robbins 5-second rule, probably one of the greatest tricks to just really get yourself to do a mind shift and really just go jump into action. And so her whole 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like NASA blast off, just do it. And you have to just do it. There's a lot of times that we come into these situations and we're kind of at that bridge, or at that, we're right there and we're like, do I do this? And don't even hesitate, just do it. And so I love that you said that.
Yeah, man. I even feel that way about this show, because I had wanted to do a podcast forever, and I was always a little hesitant, and I got myself to a point where that analysis paralysis sat in, and I was like, nope, I gotta have all this stuff ready to go. I gotta have it mapped out. I gotta have this. I gotta have that. And I don't think being prepared is bad. That's not what I'm saying. But when it freezes you up and it prevents you from acting, then you found out one of two things. Either number one, you didn't actually want that thing that bad. Like it really wasn't that important to you because you're willing to let it go, which is okay. Or number two, your fear's taken over. And you probably believe in a lie about yourself, and you're believing a lie about how good you think something's going to be, or the feedback, like you're afraid of getting bad feedback, or, putting yourself out there just doesn't sit well with you. But the truth is, you're not going to get ahead in any way in life if you don't put yourself out there. If you're married, you wouldn't be married if you didn't put yourself out there with the person who's not your spouse or your significant other. If you're in sales, like, you can't operate that way at all. You will never make a sale. You will never make any money at all.
Should I make this call?
Right. I don't, they might hang up on me. I don't think I'm going to dial. That's a bad mindset, to have. Or, if you're an artist, I'm a songwriter. If you never played your songs for anybody, if you never played out, if you never put anything out there, maybe it's painting or sculpting or whatever, like you didn't have a social media channel where you just put your stuff out there or threw it up on iTunes or whatever it is, you're never going to know. And you're not experiencing the fullness of that moment. Like, there's joy in creating something, but there's joy in people interacting with what you created as well. And if you let fear kind of dictate the path that you're going to take, then you're never gonna fully experience what you could, given your circumstances. And I think that's a hard way to live. It's a bad way to live. Like, that's life draining, man. That is not life giving at all.
Yes. And I'm glad you said that. I think that's probably, you talked about fear. I think my greatest fear, and what really pushes me to continue to think of these crazy ideas and go for these crazy dreams is like, I just always kind of play this thought or idea in my head, and Les Brown talks about it. David Goggins talks about it a lot, outworking the chart. David Goggins talks about at the end, God has this chart for you that you're supposed to do this, this, and this, and you only reached here. Like, I don't ever want to have any regret that I didn't do something that I should have or I was supposed to. So I think that has given me like this, almost like, just do it. Like, I just have to do it. I agree, man. You just got to do it. Don't
Yeah,
live with any regret of trying, because you never really know.
for sure. So,
So,
so
for the next show, obviously we're
yes,
talking about faith, and that
yeah,
is kind of where we're leading to. But and that's where it all. Listen, guys. Here's what I'll tell you: everything happens for a reason. I say this all the time. I'll believe this to my core. Everything does happen for a reason. There's all the cliche sayings: one door opens, another door closes. All of these different things will hit us.
hmm,
But it really does happen for a reason, and
yeah,
it's when you can stop in those moments and find that reason is when you can turn that what seems like a failure or a loss or whatever to a lesson and to what you really were supposed to gain in
yeah,
that moment. um, John Hewitt is the amazing example of that. I'm not going to leak too much or I guess get too much into his story because this guy's life and journey. I will just
yeah.
tell you, if you want a little sneak preview of what he's going to talk about tomorrow, you got to get his book. I Compete. I Compete right here. I Compete by John Hewitt is an amazing book. I've been through it
Yeah.
twice. His story of just growing and starting two amazing franchises that are on
Mm,
the top 100
it's
list,
awesome.
and his goal and drive to want to do a third before anybody gets a second is just one of the many ways where we just align. I think
Yeah.
he's been so successful to this point, but there's no stopping him, and it's not. And it's kind of again where our show, the new potential show with our third guest, is going to be really leading is about going after it and believing in what you're doing. And there's more of a reason than just money, than just
Yeah.
status, than just things. John Hewitt
Yeah.
is the example of that. He's had all of those and more.
Right.
That's not why he's doing what he's doing. It's a greater purpose.
Right.
He's probably one of the most giving guys when it comes to.
Mm,
Clearly, he's coming down our show, giving us his time. I mean,
right.
he's needed everywhere. He's trying to start a third brand, loyalty brands, and it's amazing. But so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm so excited, man. I can't wait to have him
But
on.
it's fantastic, and hearing, like, even if it weren't in this setting, just being able to have a conversation with someone and glean the wisdom that you can from someone who has experienced so much, had so much, lost so much, grinded it out on every level it's just epic, and you can't
Yes.
ever take that for granted. So if you haven't seen the event, there's an event on LinkedIn. I shared it earlier today. I invited some people. DJ shared it earlier. Like, watch this conversation. If you can't watch it live
Uh,
tomorrow at 3 Eastern, correct?
Yep,
3
three
Eastern.
three
Yep.
p.m. Eastern, 3 to 4.
Yep.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do an hour long. It's
Awesome.
gonna be again. It's epic. It's gonna be the last, basically our finale of the what's next journey and what's next. And
Yeah.
there is a few shows kind of leaking from that. We have one together with again a special
Yep.
co third host, which
Yep.
I'm so excited about. And
Another good
just
friend
what
of
that.
ours. Yeah.
Yes, 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 exactly. And again, just somebody who is where we bleed. I mean,
Hmm.
guys, here's what I'll tell you. LinkedIn is becoming very popular, very a very high use space when it comes to networking now.
Hmm.
But it's also being overwhelmed, I think, almost like Facebook turned into, where it's a lot of bots or a lot of people acting like bots, and
Right.
it's sending these spam messages of these long messages, and it's in the end, listen, business, whatever you're selling, whatever you're doing, uh, not even just business, life. I mean, people people want to know you, the
Yeah.
real you, the
They want something
genuine
real.
you, what you are to your core. They want real.
Hmm.
And I think that's what we're seeing now. I think that's where we're going to see why I love franchising and
Yeah.
franchises and everything John's about. But I also love what we're doing here and what we
Yeah.
have going on with that new show we're talking about, because it's going to be real. You're going to get real stories. You're going to get the real us,
Yeah.
and that's what we want.
And you're going to get some reality and some good truth from the guests that we're going to have. We're going to do some interviews. We're working out the details of everything. We're figuring out name and branding, and when episodes are going to be posted and all of that stuff. But it really is about the intersection of faith and values and life and business, and what it means to say this is who I am versus actually operating while holding those values. Like,
Yes.
I preach this. Do I practice it? And what does that look like? And how do our
Yes.
values or our faith systems or our religions or whatever, like what we base our life on, like how we would say our character has been built, how does that translate to our relationships, to our money, to our business, to all of that stuff? Because, and this is what I was talking about when I said there's a bit more to this than I think we maybe originally thought. And so
I
we
agree.
need a bit of time to develop this and play it out. Like, but it's so exciting. It's so exciting, and I love what
Yeah.
Maggie said. She said comfort zones are beautiful, but nothing grows there. And
Yes.
first of all, that's a fantastic quote. It's so true. I look at it this way: comfort zones are for rest, necessary, but
You need to
growth
rest.
happens
Yes. No,
outside of your
I.
comfort zone. Also necessary. Like, you can't have one, you have to have both. They have to work in harmony together. They have to work in unison together. And that has to be a value that you hold. Like, I will push myself outside of my comfort zone, and I will rest. Because without rest, you're no good for your family. You're no good for your kids. You're no good for your business. And without pushing, you're not providing for your family. You're not providing for your kids. You're not allowing opportunities that you wouldn't have otherwise. And so, how do we do that with integrity? How do we lead well? How do we do that not with hope for the future, but with faith that what we want, what we are aiming for will happen? It might not happen how we want it to happen or in the time period that we want it to happen, but it will happen. I love, we talk about
Yes.
Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad Poor Dad all the time.
Yep.
And he said
Yes. My God.
he stopped listening to the phrase "I can't afford that" and started asking the question, "How can I afford that?" I'm
How?
like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, that was a game changer for me. Even with things like this show, with the e-commerce store that Beth and I are doing, it was like, uh, not I don't have time, not my ideas aren't good enough. It's how do I continue to develop those ideas and develop a website and develop a product offering that will be good enough, that will make sales, that will land viewers, that will get interviews, that will be consistent, that will, all of this stuff. And so I'm so excited about this new show.
Oh, dude. All right. Well, we won't keep everybody too long. But I will say, I mean, just finishing up with what you said, Chris, I am excited as well. With what you said about Robert Kiyosaki, that quote, Maggie, if she's still out there, she'll back me up. I was pushing her for Robert Kiyosaki. Somebody I was introduced. God, I don't know how long ago now, but Rich Dad Poor Dad first. Actually, I'll
Mhm.
tell you, the first book I read of his was Fake. I didn't even read Rich Dad Poor Dad first.
Interesting.
Found Fake, and then it led to Rich Dad Poor Dad. But everything he talks about there is amazing. He's a big franchise guy as well. I mean, that's where he kind of learned what he does. Um, but it's also his rich dad and his poor dad. It's that
Mhm.
mentality. His poor dad was, well, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. And his rich dad was not. And he basically taught his kids and taught Robert, it's not we can't, it's how can we.
Right.
And I think that is the when you can do that mentally in any situation, you're always, and I think that's where John, again, going back to tomorrow, I mean, it's how can we? I mean, he's created now two amazing franchises, Jackson
Right.
Hewitt and Liberty. How can he? It's not I can't compete with Jackson Hewitt. I can't. I mean, he's competing with his own brands. He's competing with his own, but It's
Right.
how can I? And
Right.
that's always the question. It's how can we make this better? How can we do something a little bit better? How can we bring more to somebody? And when you're always asking that, man, the opportunities are endless. It's never
Yeah.
ending.
And my favorite part about that, and I just want to reiterate it as we go. When we talk about that, or when I talk about that, I don't want to speak for anybody else. We're not talking about just money. We're not talking about money.
No,
Like, how does that
no.
mentality translate to every part of your life? If you say this matters, how do you pursue that more or take the next step or whatever the thing is? Like,
What's up,
like
Jeff?
what's up, Jeff? How do we apply that way of thinking to every aspect of our life? And that's really, I think, going to be the driving point in the conversations that we're going to continue to have. And I'm
Yes,
excited. So
sir.
yeah, we appreciate you guys sticking with us and watching us. And for those of you who did join the impromptu conversation here today, let's not look at this or tomorrow as the last episode of what's next. Let's look at it at the end as the end of the first chapter of this journey that we're going to be on. This is the last page of the first chapter, and there's more to come. So
Ah,
I'm pumped.
with that, I got nothing else to say except, guys, don't forget, join us live tomorrow. You won't want to miss this conversation. John has something amazing going on.
Mhm.
If you've ever wanted to start your own business yet, but you didn't know how or where to start, a franchise is the answer. Again, Chris, thank you for inviting me on this journey and so nicely saying this is, again, not the end of the story, but just the end of this chapter, y'all.
Yep.
Just remember, feed the good wolf always. Lead with the heart. Money, all that other stuff means nothing. You'll figure that out soon
There you
enough.
go.
It's
I
what
thought you were
you
going to forget
leave
to say it. I
people
was ready to
feeling.
jump in there with Feed the Good Wolf. I was like, he's not going
Oh,
to say it.
not
He's
a
going to
chance,
forget to
man!
say
Come
it.
on, if you are feeding the good wolf, y'all. If you didn't learn that yet, please just keep listening to us, because I'm telling you, Chris, again, it's thank you again for everything, for joining me on this impromptu, just really getting the message out there for everybody. But
Yeah.
again, this is, guys, it's all about who you have around you and who you surround yourself with.
Mhm.
LinkedIn, the world we've kind of opened up to, and the world we're open to now is allowing you to expand and find those people that you align with. Don't stop networking. Don't stop growing your network, and don't stop finding people who make you feel better about
Right.
yourself. Again, thank you everybody for just
Yes.
all the support, all of the
Mhm.
following with us, and yeah, feed the good
Yep.
wolf, y'all.
Appreciate it. See y'all later.